Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. That towering intellect that is Shona Robison has just admitted that the next government of the United Kingdom will be Labour, and she has gone already down on bended knee, begging Sir Keir Starmer, kissing the ring, in order to make sure that he gives her more money to fill in the budget black hole that the SNP have created through their complete mismanagement of 17 years of reign. Reign of destruction, it must be said. It goes to show that they really do understand the predicament that we're in, and that Labour will win, and that they know they're probably going to not even be enough people in Westminster to even fight their corner to get funding. That's how bad it is. But she's admitted it now by simply going to Keir Starmer for money. Dearie me, the election is what, 8-9 months away, 10 months away maybe, and she knows the future already, and I bet she hasn't had to consult Gillian Sturgeon either. But it's probably unlikely that Sir Keir will give them too much money until the Holyrood elections. He wants a Labour-led assembly, and at that point the money may well flood in. Certainly won't be flooding in to her coffers. Let's have a look and see what's going on. Here goes. So Shona Robison makes a desperate plea to Keir Starmer for more cash to fund Scottish projects, despite Skexit improvement claims. Yep, they're sitting there on one hand saying, "Oh, we're doing well. We're going to win this. We're going to do this. We're the biggest party. We are the best. We are the brilliantest. And we're going to win this election." And on the other hand, they're going, despite how good we are, despite how successful we are, we need Sir Keir Starmer, who is going to be the winner of the next election, to give us lots and lots of lovely money that we can't have. Why? Because you've wasted it all, that's why. Anyway, the Scottish Government's Finance Secretary and all-round idiot, she urged the potential next Prime Minister, let's face it, the next Prime Minister, to hand Scotland more money so the SNP can spend it on capital projects, like more foreign embassies perhaps. And this is just days after Humza Yousaf claimed independence was the best way to fund these projects. So the best way to fund the project is independence. They know they can't get independence, so they're going for the second best way, which is to go to England and beg Westminster for money. Wonderful, isn't it? Shona Robison has made a desperate plea on bended knee to Sir Keir Starmer for more money to help fund Scottish capital projects. Money that they would have if they weren't wasting so much of it on independence. The Scottish Government Finance Secretary claimed that the Labour leader would be the next Prime Minister, which we all suspect, but it's nice of her to admit it. And she urged him to deliver bold and ambitious spending plans. He's not going to do anything of the sort. He doesn't have the money either. Her comments came just days after Humza Yousaf promised Scots that Scotland would be much better off outside the UK. And we all remember this when he sat there and said that we'd all be better off by £10,200. And everyone went, "You're an absolute moron." And he said, but that would only happen with independence. And the moment you got independence, of course, the entire Scottish economy would collapse, because the only way to pay for it would be putting taxes up. The moment that happens, anyone who can get out gets out and takes everything with them. Skills, knowledge, experience, and most of all, of course, money. And Scotland goes third world almost instantly overnight. They'd have to introduce their own currency, but they don't have a central bank yet. And then they seem to think, and I remember at the election, we'll just introduce a central bank. Who's going to run it? Who's going to back it? What are you backing your currency on? Have you got your international trade agreements? Have you got your international banking agreements? Who's going to complete them? You've only got so many people in Scotland. You can't have all the things you want with so few people. Anyway, don't forget, of course, that the claim originally was oil would pay for it, but you're closing down the oil fields because you don't like oil all of a sudden. Anyway, before all this, Miss Robison is demanding money from the UK government so she can spend it on these types of projects. Spend your own money. You've got plenty of it. They're highlighting that the SNP executive cannot stand on its own 2 feet. Well, this is true. You can't, because you've wasted all the money. It's nothing to do with money. It's all to do with the intelligence of the people running the country and spending the money. 8 million a month on spin doctors in the NHS. Millions, 20, 30 million a year on independence department in government. Too many ministers doing too many non-jobs. All the foreign embassies staffed by non-entities and relatives of the SNP elite. All of this money doing nothing. Nothing. And yet they claim they've got no money. What a load of old rubbish she talks. Holyrood's 5-year capital infrastructure investment plan. My God, I joked yesterday that they were turning into Stalin and his 5-year plans. There we go. It was published in 2021. And this included £26 billion of major projects and national programmes, like road building or dualling the A9. 2050 is reckoning when the A9... I don't know. In fact, not even. I don't think the A9 will be completed in my lifetime. Put it that way. Anyway, key parts of it will now be axed or delayed due to an alleged 10% cut in grant funding from Westminster. Not true, of course. Miss Robison complained to the Herald on Sunday about this and said the UK government's failure to inflation-proof capital investment means we're faced with a forecast real terms reduction of around 10%. In the same way that you haven't inflation-proofed the NHS, education, transport, housing, inward investment, the road system, the rail system. In fact, in your last budget, Shona, only one area of policy was given a real terms increase. Independence, which is ironically the one area of policy you can never get. You don't have the authority to do it. Oh dear, what a shame. But also, what an utter waste of money. So don't go asking for more when you're just throwing away the ones you've got. It's like a man who throws a party every night, going to the bank manager saying he's poor. What a joke. And thank God you need to worry about is the one thing you need to thank God about is what I meant to say, is that Westminster is there to pick up your tab. In independent Scotland wouldn't have that, and yet would be even worse. Anyway, she said the real terms cuts to our budget also risk undermining our ability to invest in the energy transition that will secure good green jobs for people across the country, and it will do, of course, no such thing. Other projects that face delays or cuts include flagship ones like the decarbonisation of rail and buses. Are they the same buses that are burning up into flames in London? 2 of them recently in the last couple of days, wasn't it? Because they're rubbish. Dearie me. She forgets what kind of country she lives in. Bloody cold one. She forgets also that they've got billions upon billions upon billions of pounds of oil sitting there ready, and that the world will need oil for at least another 100, 200, 300 years. The great-grandchildren of people alive today will have great-grandchildren of their own, and those great-grandchildren will still be using oil. Because oil isn't just fuel. But stupid women like her don't understand that. Miss Robison added, with Labour so far ahead in the polls, so far ahead that they're going to wipe you out at the next election, she didn't say. Keir Starmer should be bold and ambitious and promise a real terms increase to the Scottish Government's capital budget. No, how about Keir Starmer saying, look, you've got this money. How about we stop spending it on areas outside of your competence, like independence, and stop spending 8 million a month on spin doctors, and stop hiring this and stop doing that and stop spending that, and spend it just instead on the core of what you need to spend it on. And then you'll watch her little face collapse as she realises that Sir Keir Starmer is not going to fund her spendism. The Finance Secretary has already had to make savage cuts to a number of capital budgets. We've covered that. Every department, 200 million on housing, 30 million on mental health and so on. Meanwhile, of course, investing ever-increasing sums in independence. Anyway, the critics have pointed out that the SNP is to blame for wasting cash in recent years on failed and botched projects, including ferries, the delayed census, and pushing ahead with the National Care Service Bill. Billions on that as well. Also, they're likely to face prosecution under the 2021 Census Bill. They have a year left, according to the law. They were allowed to delay it, but it must be completed by 2025. If it's not completed by next year, they can be taken to court. Deary, deary me, breaking the law, and because they haven't got the money to pay for it. And in fact, they need to change that law and not make the census a devolved thing, but make it a nationwide thing, because the money involved is a nationwide investment. and so therefore must be catered for. Labour's shadow Scottish Secretary Ian Murray said under the SNP, the Tories' infrastructure in Scotland have been left to crumble. Both governments have wasted eye-watering sums on botched capital projects. Blah, blah, blah. We've covered all that. But it's money wasted left, right and centre. And to get her ass out of a sling, she's going to him, getting on knees, kissing the ring and begging for money because they keep blowing it. If Keir Starmer has a spine, which he doesn't, he'll tell her no. But we shall see. Anyway, I'm rounding off and coming up. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why this next general election is so important. We know Labour are probably going to win. I mean, it would take an absolute world-changing event for Labour not to win this next election. But the secret, of course, is to get rid of as many SNP out of Westminster as possible. Do that. Get rid of them. Put them into single figures. It can be done. It just needs extreme tactical voting. Remove them, break them, bankrupt them. Get the party to go. If the party's closed, then every SNP in Holyrood then sits as an independent, and that would mean the next government could be formed before the next Holyrood elections, and you'd have the end of SNP rule in Scotland probably forever. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. It goes to show, though, that even she knows that the SNP are broken and done, and they're not going to do very well in the next election. Oh dear, what a shame. I'm sure we're all crying inside. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later.